That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm ready to do it now.
Okay.
Ready? Sitting here worried in the backseat of a car. I'm worrying about the driver and hoping we aren't going far. 'Cause I don't have a seatbelt, don't want to get thrown out of the windshield of the car. Where I'm worrying as I'm sitting in the backseat of a car. Worrying as we're fishing about the bones in the fishes that could get caught in our throats. And I'm worrying about the fishing licenses of the other fishermen fishing in our boat. If I ate one of the fishes and the bones got stuck in my throat, or the police throw me down on the ground as I choke and I choke and I choke and I choke and I choke. This world is a terrifying place. So I try to keep a smile on my face. This world is a terrifying place. So I try to keep a smile on my face. I'm worrying about the check in the letter that I put in the box where they get the mail. Will the furniture company get it in time? And if not, will I go to jail? Will they come and get the dresser and the bed and the chair? Will they come and take me too? 'Cause I don't wanna go there. So I'm worrying about the check in the letter that I put in the box where they get the mail. This world is a terrifying place. So I try to keep a smile on my face. This world is a terrifying place. So I try to keep a smile on my face. But I'm worried about the driver of the car. Yes, I'm worried about the driver of my car. Yes, I'm worried about the driver of the car. Yes.
Not bad.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? That's my son, who is already a better guitar player than I am, and hopefully won't be a better piano player too soon, but he's getting there. Thanks, I appreciate it. Bring the electric back.
I will. I'll just get it right now.
So anyhow, it's kind of amazing. One of the cool things about having kids is, like, you know, some of the things that you used to do when you were younger, or you learned when you were younger, they often pick it up. So then you have people to play guitar with, you know, or do carpentry with, or whatever else. I hope that wasn't too crazy sounding. I don't know how it sounded. We just had one microphone coming through, so and I know it's kind of a little echoey in here. There should be padding on the back wall, and we should have a mic on the piano and all that kind of stuff. But hey guys, how y'all doing? Yeah, Goodstream in the nighttime. I know it's late for some of you guys, but I was in the zone. So hey, Love Cat, hey Carolyn, hey Carla, hey Flannel Farms, Brian, how you doing, man? Bobbert, and Bradley's Adventures. Nice to see you back. Haven't seen you in a while. Enjoy being. Good to see you. Tim. And Sarah Normally. Ricky the Tabby. Money trees are out of stock again at IKEA, Portland, Oregon. That's funny. Dang. Hey, Robert. Yeah, Yuma's got to be an interesting place to garden. Good. Yeah, it could be louder. I know it's one of those things. You probably if I turn it up too loud, it blows out the microphone and then we're done. And if it's too low, then everybody's got to turn their headphones up and then bother their spouses who are trying to go to sleep. You know how it goes. So, what am I doing so late? Well, it's only 9 o'clock. We've had company in and out. I had my my brother-in-law and my sister were here earlier. What are you playing? Awesome. And so we were talking about pushing the zone in the with a greenhouse earlier today, and I thought, you know what? I think we should talk more about pushing the zone. And also, that greenhouse, I don't know if it's going to stand up. I got people on the channel saying, "Hey, I think the plug is behind this amp." That amp is. There should be one right there. Is there?
No, there's.
Did we only run them on the back? Oh, can you reach it? So we're doing this thing with the greenhouse and setting the greenhouse up, and I said I'm just going to do a video on this because we're setting it up. And really, we were supposed to have a greenhouse set up. But it just didn't happen for various reasons, like a proper built greenhouse and all that kind of thing. And then Dawn, who watches this channel, sent me these coffee seedlings. And then it says it's going to freeze, and I'm like, I was looking around for greenhouse ideas, and I see that Dan at Plant Abundance, does that work? Dan at Plant Abundance has set up this little cheapy greenhouse, and I'm like, that's just what I got to do, and we'll see. But it's it's risky because if anybody goes and buys that greenhouse, they might be like, David, I could recommend it, but I didn't actually recommend it. I really made a point of not recommending it because I have no idea, and I don't normally buy from China, but when I do, I prefer a Dos Equis. So anyhow.
Chinese.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I'm going to sit here. There we go. What are we playing?
I don't know.
So, we got to play a song about pushing the zone. In G.
All right. This is not in tune.
Sounds pretty good to me.
No, you like.
You got a tuner on?
There's a tuner here.
You do quietly. Ping, 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 ping. All right, we'll do that in a second. So anyhow, pushing the zone with a greenhouse is like the first thing I thought of. Dude, I need a great big greenhouse to push the zone. This was when I was in North Florida. Since then, I have kind of gotten a little wiser on pushing the zone. And I generally don't grow a lot of stuff anymore that doesn't fit the zone I'm in. You notice that in my gardens, I tried to plant almost all the stuff that would work in this climate. So it's raspberries and peaches. I didn't go out there and start planting mangoes and coffee and that kind of thing. Yeah, Caroline, I think you're exactly right. The cattle panel greenhouse frame. And the greenhouse thing that is behind this is just waiting to have the cattle panel frame put on it, but I can't do it for various reasons. Remember, I don't actually own this property, and it was a plan that my landlord had for a greenhouse, and so it's just sort of waiting. He's bought the stuff and he's got the bits and pieces, and we're just waiting on that. But I could not let 225 coffee seedlings. I could not bring them all into the house. There's just no way. Could do tobacco. Are you in tune?
Yes.
All right, let's push the zone in G. coming in and we're not expecting it, but time is running out. So what you gonna do when you've got a half-built greenhouse and a landlord ain't coming out? Gotta push the zone. Gotta figure out how to push that funky zone. So what do? We give Bezos more than is his due. Give him $239 for a piece of junk from China. Then we post it to YouTube and 150,000 people could see what we did. We supported the communists and the crony capitalists and put an Amazon Associates link beneath. I don't think this guy's so good. So I don't know if it was the best idea, cause people were telling me they had one and it blew over and the rain got inside and it fell to bits. Someone else is like, oh yeah, I have one, it lasted for like 2 years and it's doing awesome. I'm so glad I spent that $239 with the crony capitalists. But we gotta push the zone before my coffee ain't got a home. We'll see how it goes. It's like buying a trailer in Tornado Alley. It's like buying flood insurance at the bottom of a valley. Pushing the zone. All right, I probably better talk about the topic. That was
Pushing the zone?
Yeah. Occupy greenhouses. Okay, thank you. That was awesome. So, greenhouse is the first thing you think of. You know? Like, gonna push the zone. Let's put the plants in a plastic box. Let's buy something. But you know, that's not actually the first thing that you can do to push the zone. Some things are touchy, right? Like I'm trying to grow coffee where it gets down below freezing. That is just not easy. But there are some things that you can you can gain one zone by doing. I'll share an example. My friend Dave Taylor, Taylor Gardens Nursery, who got me started with my own plant nursery some time ago, and I'm very fond of him. Dave asked me one day, you guys eat avocados? I'm like, do we, what did he call it? He didn't even call them avocados. They've got some other name for them. What did he call those things? I don't remember. You like avocados? I'm like, do I like avocados? What are those? Yeah, the green things. Oh, avocados. Dave is from South Africa. So I'm like, yeah, I love avocados. So he gets me a bag of avocados. I said, where did you get these? Is this a cold hardy variety of avocados? And he says, no, they're just like the tropical type, but a guy's got them growing right here in the, Ocala area. I said, really? How's he growing them? Well, you see, he's got 3 big trees. Actually, I think it was a woman. She's got 3 big trees. Great big trees. She's got 3 big trees, and they are in between the swimming pool and the back of the house. Well, that's interesting. 3 avocado trees between the house and a swimming pool on a slope. Whoa. Now, I started getting into studying. Back then, I thought that was kind of interesting. It's some sort of a microclimate. But as I got into studying zone pushing and studying, how the frost moves and what you can do to grow plants outside of their zones. I always loved tropical plants, but I was living in North Florida, in the middle of the state. Now, if you live right near the ocean, you can grow stuff. Like you could grow, poinciana trees, right? The flamboyant tree, one of the most popular ornamental trees. They would grow directly east of me and directly west of me, like an hour one way, hour and a half the other way, because of the coasts. If they're right on the ocean, they grow. But you get about 20 miles inland and they freeze to the ground. So, avocados growing outside, not cold hardy varieties, because there are cold hardy varieties of avocados. There are avocados like Lila that go down to like 12 degrees when they get mature. There are some others, I think Fantastic can take down in the 20s. There's Lula. There's quite a few of them that have some genetics for cold hardiness. But these were not cold hardy varieties. They were the great big tropical types. But there were actually 3 things going on. 3 things going on here. There is a slope. If you have a frost event, the cold air tends to just come down and flow down a slope, and it doesn't settle. The dangerous thing is if you have a situation like this, cold air coming down and settling into a dip. The low spots tend to frost over. The higher spots, they don't tend to, the cool air runs away from them. It's an interesting thing, the way it runs around a yard. You could have a frost event, and sometimes you'll see that this area over here, all of these plants are wilted, and they obviously were burned by the frost. But this area right over here, everything's still green. What happened there? You can actually pay attention, if you could pay attention to the non-hardy plants in your yard after a frost event, like particular weeds. We noticed it with the Biden's alba weeds in our yard. If you look around your yard after a frost event, you can see areas where everything's just still green and areas where stuff has just turned black. A couple of days after frost, whoa, what happened? Exactly, Freaking Dave. Flows like water. Cold air is just flowing around. So, you've got the fact that the frost is flowing past the avocados. Then you have something else. You have a swimming pool. Water has a lot of thermal mass. It's got a lot of ability to hold on to cold or hold on to warmth. This is why I put barrels in my greenhouse. Because a barrel of water acts like a small heater all night long. It takes a lot of cold to freeze a barrel of water. And it's basically a little below, above freezing. It takes a lot of cold units to freeze that water. And in the middle of the day, it keeps the greenhouse from getting too hot because the cool water in those barrels act like little coolers. Very interesting. It makes a significant difference on the top temperature and the lowest temperature. It is a moderating factor. So a swimming pool, with however many thousands of gallons are in a swimming pool, Now there's a slope and there's a swimming pool, so there's warmth coming off of that. The cold may be coming down past, but the warmth is coming off the pool. And then you also have a south-facing wall of the house. The south-facing wall of the house often holds onto heat through the night, and the area around the overhang of a house, also the frost tends to run away. It does not tend to frost all the way up to the side of your house. And it's also blocking the flow of cold air that may have been coming down from further up the slope. It's diverting and rolling around the house. So there's this pocket, this thermal mass, this slope, this house that it's flowing around, and potentially some of that thermal mass of the house too is keeping it warm. Interesting. It's very interesting. So you've got tropical avocados growing in a climate where they should be losing the blooms and the fruit regularly. Yes. That's cool. That's cool. So I got interested in this kind of nerdy stuff after we moved to North Florida. I had lived in Tennessee for a while, and I had experimented. That's weird, like that can of Ballistol keeps coming in and out of my head. Can of Ballistol should be like right here. I use it for an air freshener. So you have this. Oh, okay, where is it? Yeah, I moved to Tennessee, and in Tennessee I pushed some things. I was reading about the Chicago cold hardy fig, and then that made me think about what could I do with other figs. The figs would often freeze to the ground in Tennessee and grow back and make figs, because figs grow really fast. But what if you could keep it from freezing? Interesting. What could you keep from freezing in Tennessee? Could you keep your figs from freezing? And if you could keep figs from freezing, could you keep citrus from freezing? What would happen? You know, so this is interesting. So I planted a fig in the corner between the one wall of my house. Let's look at it like this. Wall of my house, and then I had a shed running alongside the house like this that I put in an L. I basically blocked that corner up with a shed. And then inside of that corner, I planted a fig. We got a 14-degree night. We were a little ways outside of Nashville. And the fig did not freeze to the ground. Whereas other stuff I had out in the yard did freeze to the ground. Interesting. There was a pocket there. There was a microclimate. And it wasn't a microclimate that I deliberately created. It was a microclimate that existed because I wanted to put those two buildings in an L. And it just incidentally happened to be a good spot to put the fig. I was thinking about microclimates, and I thought, let's see how it works there. Interesting. So, when I moved to Florida, I had done some experimenting in Tennessee. When I moved to North Florida, I thought, dang, I am so close. I am so close to being able to grow tropicals here. This absolutely kills me. Like, I couldn't afford the area where I grew up. I didn't want to live down there anymore anyways. Fort Lauderdale is a beautiful city. But Fort Lauderdale is not a great place to raise a family, or to keep chickens, or to farm, or to light fires outside and randomly shoot your gun up in the air. You know what I mean? So I had to get out of the city, and I couldn't afford the city anyways. I even looked at buying a place near my parents, and the price of houses. I'm like, I can't afford $300,000 for a house. I didn't have that much money, and I couldn't afford the mortgage on it. And then the taxes and the insurance. So, well, Mom and Dad, I'm moving to North Florida. So we moved to North Florida, and we were so close. When I got there, I got my house in August. I think it was August of 2010. And I got some mango seedlings from South Florida, and I planted them all over the yard. And I planted some papaya. And they all froze. They all died. Shucks. Well, and I got some I got some other tropical stuff and tried planting around the yard. I got a key lime that somebody gave me. And I thought, okay, I'm going to try that trick where I plant it close to the house. So I planted it near the back of my house. And I planted it near the south-facing wall because I was starting to get smarter. South-facing wall. It's going to warm up overnight. I'm going to have that thermal mass. So I planted it next to that wall. About 3 feet out from the wall. I thought I would do like they did with those avocados. I didn't have a swimming pool, but key lime tree. I had a friend with a key lime tree, and his key lime tree would freeze to the ground and try to grow back every year. It was the saddest thing ever. It never bore him any key limes, but he always like, oh, there's my lime tree coming back again. You know, like every year, like for years. There's my lime tree coming back. By the time it's like ready to fruit, it freezes. And you know, they have a bloom cycle that's real early in the year, and then they bear fruit late into the winter, November, December. And so I planted that sucker like 3 feet out from the wall. And then we got our first frost, and it was cold. 20s somewhere. Half of the tree froze off. The half of the tree that was within about 2 feet of the wall stayed green. No damage. Everything just outside of the overhang of the roof, like the last foot and a half of the tree, completely brown after the frost. It was incredible. It was like you took brown spray paint and spray painted the outer, just a line across that tree from out there. So then I realized, well, this is interesting. This south-facing wall, the effect of this south-facing wall works to about 2 feet out from the wall. So after that frost, still winter, I dug the tree up and I planted it 6 inches from the wall. And I bolted some pieces of conduit. That actually had like anchors, and I screwed them into the wall. And I made this V. Actually, it was like a V with a middle thing. Like that. 3. There we go. 3, like that. I was like, my fingers do what I want, fingers. It's like that against the wall. And I just tied all the branches back against it. And it never froze again. And from that year on, we got key limes every year. Wow. My eyes were opened, and I started studying more. I started putting barrels out in the yard and putting a barrel next to a tender tree and then throwing blankets over the whole thing, and the barrel acted like a heater. I tried the Christmas light thing. You know, it's getting harder to find Christmas lights that are not LEDs, and that's really irritating for us zone pushers. They gotta be real lights. You can't put LED lights out there. They gotta get hot. They gotta be inefficient, by golly, because that's what we need to keep things warm. However, I had better luck, and it was much easier to just get a big barrel of water, put it next to the trunk of a tree I wanted to protect, you know, put a barrel out there, fill it full of water before the first freeze, and then every time it was going to freeze, I would just throw a big sheet or a blanket over the tree and the barrel together, and the barrel easily kept every tree next to a barrel did fine. So that was an interesting thing to learn, and I didn't have to run wires around the yard. I had so many trees. I was able to get barrels from a guy that had friends at the water treatment plant, so I got barrels for like $12 each. Can you imagine? I mean, barrels now are probably like $1,000 each. No, it's probably not that bad, but it's getting there. So I was like, this is the way to do it. Simple. I had multiple trees. I had like 20 citrus or something I was protecting. Barrel next to it, throw something over. Now, the problem is, you know, you can go and buy frost blankets, or you can just take sheets from your house and throw them over things. That's what people would do in the very, very, very rare cold events down in Fort Lauderdale when I was a kid. Take some sheets from the house and just throw it out there. I found that you could go to your local thrift store and you could buy cheap sheets and blankets and bedspreads and that kind of thing and just use those.
and you can use them again and again and again, and then your wife doesn't get mad at you, you know, because you used like the nice sheets on the citrus, and they get filthy and rained on and stuff. So you could just go and get them for like $2 a piece. So Rachel and I went out hunting for sheets before a frost event once, and then when we got home, Rachel stitched 4 sheets together for me so I could cover this big tree that I didn't want the blooms to fail on. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool. But it's easy pushing the zone, right? You're not building a greenhouse. You've got the tree growing in the ground. You're not trying to maintain the humidity levels and unzip the greenhouse and zip it up again and try to get the weeds out of it, and then you get a whitefly infestation, and you know, I mean, or you get a windstorm and it blows up. A lot of people are like, your greenhouse is probably gonna get wrecked in a windstorm, you know? I'm like, it might. I had one get wrecked in a windstorm before. I don't know where you get the IBC totes. Some hardware stores have them occasionally. They used to have them down on the island. Yeah, you can get buckets at Firehouse Subs. It's like recommended donation now. I used to get them for free, but now it's like you got to give to some firefighter or something. Sorry, Brian. You guys make more than I do. I guess you save lives. Like to save money and lives by getting free buckets. I mean, it's enough that I bought a sandwich. By golly. So, anyhow, there's a couple of options there. I did something really kind of entertaining once, and that was I had a seedling loquat tree, and I really wanted to find out what type of fruit it was going to make. However, that tree, loquats, they bloom in like February. And so if you get any late frosts, which we did pretty regularly in North Florida, if you get a late frost, you will lose the blooms. So the tree is cold hardy down to like 10 degrees or something like that. But the blooms are only cold hardy to 24 or 26, something like that. So if it gets below that, you're in trouble. So this night was coming, and it's going to go down to like 20. I'm like, come on. It's the first time the tree's got buds and blooms all over it. But it's a big tree. It's 6 years old. It's a seedling tree that I grew. 6 years old. First year. Okay. What are we going to do? We don't have a parachute to throw over it. We would have to sew together so many blankets to cover that thing. It was over our heads tall. Shucks. What are we going to do? Okay. I got an idea. Let's cover part of it. So I stuck a barrel at one corner of the tree, filled the barrel full of water, put this blooming branch with a bunch of little fruits on it right over the top of the barrel, covered that area with blankets, and just pinned it all down. We took the blankets and stuff off after the frost event and watched to see what happened. Well, all the blooms on the tree, except for that one branch, all just kind of browned and fell off. That one branch, they continued and grew into fruit. Huh. A barrel and some blankets. And we got fruit. Okay, that's cool. That's really cool. So there may be options already. Like if you have a south-facing wall and you're in zone 6, and you have a plant that's a little marginal to zone 6. Maybe you've got a Japanese persimmon variety you want to grow, but it's really only supposed to be hardy to zone 7. Maybe you're in zone 5, and that persimmon's a zone 7 persimmon. You're just a little bit too cold for it. If you have a sunny south-facing wall, you can easily gain one zone and likely two. Particularly with temperate climate trees, say like a persimmon or a peach. You may be a little too far north, you think, for peaches. But if you have a south-facing wall, there is that thermal mass effect that will keep it just enough warmer that you can grow there. So when I planted the back wall of my house, after that key lime did well, I got a little crazy. I planted black pepper. I planted coffee. I planted Okinawa spinach. I planted longevity spinach. I planted stuff that really is only supposed to grow in the true tropics. Stuff that Fort Lauderdale would be the northern end of its range. Far north end of its range. And I planted guavas. I planted pineapples. And you know, they didn't die. They didn't die through freeze events. And I could not believe it. I was growing a coffee outdoors in zone 8/9, and it should not be growing past zone 11. That back strip, that 2 foot by about 40 foot of growing space on the back of the house, that was my Miami garden. 80 square feet of the tropics in my yard already, and I did not realize it until I tried that experiment with a key lime, and then suddenly I could play in the tropics. I could delve into a different growing zone. Wow. That was like, ha 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 ha. This is cool. So I started digging. And then the digging ended up with me writing this book. This book pushed the zone. You see the guy on the Zamboni here going by. He's a gardener. He's growing right through the ice. He's growing an orange tree. And the hockey player just thinks he's nuts. So, interesting. Interesting stuff. Incidentally, this book, which is now republished with Good Books, as you can see here, this book was not my most popular book. This is a book for nerds. This is a book for people that are like super into doing weird stuff with their gardens. It is a niche topic on top of a niche topic. Right? I write compost everything. The book takes off. It sells quite well. I make it into the Amazon bestseller list. My first release with a publisher, and it actually sold pretty well. I got like a few $100 royalties on that book every month. Like, that's good for a new author. Grow or Die. Grow or Die does well. The Good Guide to Survival Gardening does well. And then I'm like, you know what I really want to write about? I want to write about my 80 square feet of Miami outside of my back door. 15 degrees out, man. And I've got black pepper and coffee behind my house. And I'm not protecting it. I don't have it in the greenhouse. Okay. I want to write about that. So I wrote about it. Totally psyched about it. I read all these books on it. There's the introduction to this book is by Dr. David A. Franco. Craig Hepworth gave me a lot of input. Eric Tonesmeyer in his book Paradise Lot I found very useful. But Dr. David A. Franco, he wrote the book called Palms Won't Grow Here and Other Myths. I wrote him. He was retiring from his position. I think he was at the University of Chicago as a horticulture teacher. And he had written this book on growing tropical plants, or borderline tropical stuff outside of the tropics, and how far you could actually push more tropical species. And I read his book. I was like, man, this is cool. And so I wrote him. I said, hey, I'm writing a little book that's similar to what you did, except it's more focused on edible plants. Would you be willing to write me an introduction? So I sent it to him, and he wrote me an introduction. I was so happy. Like, this is so cool. I got a doctor of horticulture writing me an introduction on my little Push the Zone book. But, you know, the book never sold all that well. It sells. Usually after people discover my other stuff and they're like, oh, I tried this method and I tried that method and I tried this method. And they go, oh, that's cool. That's some cool stuff that I learned from David the Good. Maybe I'll just buy this book. Maybe I want to complete the collection of weirdly colored books. I have to get all of the good guides, all 4 of them. I don't know. But the people that have read it and were interested in the zone pushing thing, they really loved the book. And not every book has to be, I don't think every book has to be an economically viable operation. Some things you just write because you love them. And it would be great if you get more royalties for them. But sometimes there's just this great sense of satisfaction in having tackled a problem and conquered it, right? Like when you make something cool, if you build, say, a picnic bench, you build your own picnic bench. Maybe you found some plans on Pinterest. I'm going to build this picnic bench. It might take you $200 and a weekend of work to figure it out. But sometimes that's more satisfying because you solved the problem and you did something you hadn't done before, rather than just going and buying one, right? The research that went in to push the zone and the experiments that went in to push the zone, just like with compost everything, I spent years of goofing around with weird experiments and testing things and throwing things out in the yard and seeing how they live, you know. That built into the book. So I had already done all the research. I might as well write the book. I'd already written articles on it and stuff. So, you know, it's personally satisfying. Next book should be about conspiracy theories. You want to get me off of YouTube? Yes, thank you, Brenton. Whew. Close one there. So, the joy of having put that book together was great, but my next good guide, the Good Guide to Plant Propagation, did way better. It's kind of interesting. That's the sort of topic that like everybody could kind of use. Like, how could I save a bunch of money? Not like, how could I make a peach tree grow in Michigan? You know, it's esoteric. Sawyer, that is funny. Conspiracy theories. I believe in a lot of conspiracy theories. I believe in like pretty much everyone simultaneously. Netflix, yeah, I won't be on Netflix. I don't think you get to that level of success without taking the ticket, and I don't really want to take the ticket. I think it'll get to be bad for life. I don't know, just being inside of the mass media. I was asked by a New York Times reporter if I would give them input on an article they were writing on a particular topic, and I said no. I don't want to talk to you people. I didn't say it like that. I just said I'm not interested. Not interested. And one day I may just completely leave YouTube altogether and disappear. There may just be a time. But yeah, plenty of conspiracies. Oh, flat Earth theory is like the best Earth theory ever. I love the idea of like there being a dome, and then the Antarctic is this huge ice wall, and you can't get through it. I think that's just awesome, and that gravity is not actually gravity. It's the force we're being pushed because Earth is a disk that's accelerating. It's accelerating, so it's acceleration that's going on. That is the best theory ever. I just want to believe in it. I may just say I do believe in it just because I want it to be true, because it's awesome. Now, I don't have a book on pruning techniques, but I highly recommend Anne Ralph's book, Grow a Little Fruit Tree. Right, it's the firmament. Hey, Floribama. It's good to see you, man. Hey, if you guys are not subscribed to Floribama Homestead, if you're interested in this zone, Floribama's got a lot of good stuff over there. Floribama Homestead. And he's a friend of mine. Go subscribe to his channel and say something nice to him. He's actually cutting up a piece of dogwood tree for me. There was a dogwood tree that was dying, and I was putting in these fence posts, so I cut this tree down, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's dogwood. I cut open a dogwood tree once before, and the wood was beautiful. So I was looking for a way to cut it, and turns out he has a sawmill. So yeah, I have no idea what Kiss the Ground is. Dogwood trees are always dying. Yeah, there's some blight that's going through the south. Get on Prime? Yeah, maybe. Yep, I heard about that one, Love Cat. What's the difference between conspiracy theory and truth? 6 months. That's about right. The pruning thing. This is interesting you bring this up. The pruning thing. Do I have a book on pruning? I've been thinking about this. If you wanted to, say, grow a mango tree in Atlanta, I'll bet you you could plant a mango tree. You could go down south and buy a mango tree and bring it up. And plant it in the ground and put 3 55-gallon drums around the base of it. Prune the top of the tree consistently at 6 feet. That's it. You're going to let that tree branch sideways 6 feet. Then, every frost event, you throw thick blankets over it. I bet you get mangoes. I bet you could do it. Interesting, huh? Interesting. There's so many weird things you can do. The combination of pruning things small to keep them manageable with zone pushing techniques, right? So like my key lime tree along the back of the house, I didn't let it get to a full 15, 16 feet or whatever a key lime wants to get to. They're kind of variable. In certain conditions, they get taller. In certain conditions, they're pretty short. But I pruned the top of that sucker off every year and kept it small enough because I found that it did manage to put a branch up around the edge and towards the roof. That branch froze. But I never lost the fruit or had an event like I did the first time. So I think I said it didn't freeze again, but there was a branch that did freeze. It tried to put a water chute up and around. And from then on, I just started bending and pruning and cutting it back. So it stayed right there, basically a two-dimensional tree flat against the wall. Push the zone. Totally interesting. Anyhow, I'll put a link to the book if anybody's interested in it. It's one of those things that I'm really glad that I did because it's, especially at this time of year, it's very interesting to me to see like what's going to live and what's not. I planted 3 banana trees out in the yard here, but I potted up multiple others and I stuck them in the greenhouse. That way I've kind of got some redundancy. The video that I did the other day about growing cassava canes, you know, putting the canes in the ground, a lot of people ask me, you know what, I'm just going to sing this part. A lot of people... Hey, watch the beginning, Domestead. We did a zone pushing song. A lot of people ask me when they saw my cassava. Hey, David the Good, won't you sell us a few cuttings of that cassava? And I gotta say no, because that cassava I had to grow. I grew it for myself.
didn't have enough planting material that I could carry on. I didn't have enough planting material. I just had a few dozen stems that I planted this spring, so it's all gotta go in the ground. Gotta save it for next year. That variety that I found. And then it's gonna end up a great big patch, a survival patch of cassava. Cassava, cassava. Yucca, 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 yucca. Okay, that's enough. That is getting dumb. So it's gotta, basically I stored that stuff in the ground so I could grow the seed out for this next year. Basically hold the canes for the next year. I need lots of planting canes because I have lots of kids. And I am concerned about the supply lines, as I keep saying. I'm concerned about the supply lines. And so I want to make sure that I've got some serious root crops in the ground. And so I did want to share it with people, but I realized, you know, a lot of folks have been supporting my daughter's nursery, and they really would love to support the nursery and get cool plants. But I was like, I'm really sorry. Daisy had already written out a listing for the cassava because I told her I'd probably have some that she could sell. But then when I cleaned all the canes up and I cut off all the green parts and took all the leaves and I cut them into segments, I started packing up the trash cans to bury them in the ground. I realized I only had 2 trash cans worth of planting material. I really would like about 4,000 or 5,000 square feet worth of cassava. And I don't have the greatest soil, so I'm going to have to space them a little wider. And it just kind of hit a point where I was like, shucks, I got to keep them. Now everybody's like, I want some cassava. And again, that's another experiment with zone pushing. You don't know what will grow necessarily in your zone until you throw a bunch of genetics at it. I think I mentioned him the other night. Somebody told me about Joseph Lofthouse. Joseph Lofthouse is, he wrote a book called Landrace Gardening. I mentioned it in my newsletter. Quite interesting. Okay, awesome, Scrubland. Thank you. Have a good night, Boyd. We gotta form some sort of a group, Love Cat, to do that. I mean, we could have like our own Good Gardener social network. I have a friend that could set something like that up. I wonder if that would be worth doing. Huh. It's possible. Gardener's Network or something like that. Good night, Scotch Girl. The cassava zone pushing experiment. Really, you throw genetics at it, right? So I threw 5 varieties out there and it worked. So what Joseph Lofthouse is doing is he is trying to breed varieties of vegetables according to the climate that he's in, only giving them irrigation but not fertilizing them. All he does for fertilization is he tills under the weeds that he lets grow on the fallow time of the year. He tills it under and he plants again. And so you do something like plant 20 different types of okra, let them interbreed. Whichever ones survive, you plant again, and you do it again. You know? So it's very interesting. He said the problem is often solvable by throwing enough genetics at something. So if you were to plant 10,000 pumpkin seeds, you might have 5 of them that were capable of producing pumpkins in your zone 3 climate.
You might have to plant a lot before you get one that it has a very precocious fruiting pattern. But you may be able to breed for it. If I was able to get this variety of cassava to go to seed and then plant the seeds from it, I could probably get multiple varieties that would grow in Alabama, and I might even be able to get it shorter. Which cassava is making roots in 5 months or 6 months? There was a variety we had down in Grenada that I really, really, really wish we had here. Oh my gosh. This cassava grew to like thigh high. And it would make roots that are about this fat at about 4 to 5 months. Excellent, excellent variety. Didn't take up a ton of space. It was small. It looked like it was thin and weak. Little red leaves on it, or close to red. They had like red petioles on the leaves. And man, that thing always made roots. And it will look like it was just this little scrawny cassava compared to these big massive ones that I was used to growing. Those big massive ones would take like 16 months or 18 months sometimes to make big roots. I don't know if it's CR30. I was fascinated by it. By such a little teeny thing, didn't take up a ton of your garden space, but it made roots really quickly. You can almost get 2 rounds of them in Alabama before it freeze. Crazy. It's fast. They thrived in so-so soil fertility. Gosh, I don't know. Yeah, it was basically a bush cassava, exactly. Yeah, sometimes they set seeds, Joe, and then that's what they use for breeding purposes. But getting good seeds on cassava is not that common. And up here, they would probably never. Mine have bloomed a few times, but I don't think they set any seeds. And you also run the risk with cassava of them reverting to a bitter form, so you have to be careful about that. You have millions of pumpkins, millions for me. Have a good night, Floribama. Interesting, huh? The potential. So Joseph Lofthouse's landrace gardening. Just throw seeds at the problem. So he actually was breeding for seedier varieties of sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes. So that way he would have lots of seeds from sweet potatoes. Not because he just wanted seedy sweet potatoes, but because he could take the seeds and plant tons of them in his short season and maybe get tubers. And after a few years of planting lots of seeds, he's getting some varieties that are setting tubers. And then he is saving seeds from those. And he's having friends that are further south grow them out, plant the seeds, grow the tubers out, plant the seeds, and then, and then grow those out and then send them to, it's just crazy. He's getting the seeds from different people that are further south and then planting them up where he is and seeing which ones make tubers and then replanting those. Crazy stuff. So, Brett says, I've heard 9 to 12 months is best time frame for harvesting. Yes, that's right. Now, I had that in North Florida. Well, thank you, Bro Rebel Bear. I appreciate it. Small thank you for the entertainment. I appreciate it. Joseph Lofthouse, Landrace Gardening. I'm buying it now. But I don't have it yet. Yes, that's right. Kinjo says, reminds me of Skill Cult has been planting a lot of tree collards to a more hardy, deeper purple variety. Yeah, he's a plant breeder. Throw genetics at it. Sorry, I'm like itching my nose on camera. That's not nice. Do I know about Mighty Net? I don't know about Mighty Networks. I'm not familiar with that. Hey, Country Homestead Preacher. Maplesville. Scott says, I roasted my first Seminole/butternut hybrid tonight. Stunning. Even my wife loved it. All right. Well, that's awesome. Should be sweet. No, 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 no. I'm not publishing the book. He's published it himself. I'm just buying it from him because it looked interesting. I haven't read it yet, so I can't say, but I've read some of his writing at Permies.com. That's right, Bobbert. That's the way to do it. I'm going to throw like 16 different melons in my yard to let them decide who will live and cross. That's exactly right. Can you not get Oka in the USA? No, not easily. I haven't seen it. It's on Discord. Oh, okay. Some of his seeds are available at the Experimental Farm Network. Yeah, I had heard he had shared some seeds. He'll take like a whole ton of different varieties and just keep selecting out whatever he wants. This last year, I planted a bunch of pumpkins, and I let them all cross up together. So we have mixed up Seminole pumpkins. Some of you guys actually bought those seeds from my daughter Daisy. They're all crossed. It'll be fascinating to see how it turns out. Year after year, what I'm doing for replanting is I'm saving seeds from some of the best tasting of the whole batch. I don't know how Discord works, Love Cat, but if you send me an invite, I'll join it. That would be cool. Do you like growing Oka? Enjoy being? Is it worth growing? I've heard it's cool. It's cool. Oh, wow. Mobile County. That is less than 1. That's amazing. Yikes. Great company. Hope the seeds do well for you. No, it's okay, Scott. That's funny. Well, you guys, I'm getting tired. I got to go to bed. But if you have not read Push the Zone and it sounds like it's up your alley, check it out. And also, don't forget we are still book bombing Garden Heat, a Jack Broccoli novel. It's up for pre-order on Amazon now. And anyhow, it's a great book. It's going to come out on Black Friday, so we're almost out. We've got over 100 pre-orders on it right now, so we're going to ping the algorithms on Amazon, but the more we get, the higher it should go in the rankings, which would be very interesting. The Grow a Tree book is called Grow a Little Fruit Tree. Let me see. Grow a Little Fruit Tree. I'll give you my affiliate link. If you buy it through my affiliate link, I think I make like $1. Maybe $2. It's like you get a small percentage so if you buy it. I use the affiliate links because then I get like a couple $100 a month usually, which is kind of cool because then I got like that seed money. But yeah, anytime you buy through one of my links, it's like a small, I think they give you 3, it depends on the item, but it's like 1%, 2%, 3.5%, that sort of thing. So if any of you guys have YouTube channels, if there's like a book you really like or something, you can sign up for Amazon Associates. And if you recommend a book or something, you'll get like some cents back. Any of the links on my sites to books are affiliate links. SPQR Cincinnatus. But yeah, like I guess I could probably just go to if I went to the homepage of Amazon, I think I could link the homepage. The opening, yeah, I'll give it to you guys. If you want to do Amazon shopping through my link, that's awesome. It doesn't cost anything for anybody that does it, but Amazon has been good to me. I'm always conflicted about Amazon because I wouldn't have the book distribution that I have. I wouldn't like that's most of my book sales. Yeah, I know they're like big, huge crony capitalist, everything terrible, destroying small towns and stuff. But it's like, I don't know, if you're an author, where else do you go than Amazon? I mean, I do have alternative channels. And my printer, I have a printer that's not Amazon. And so if I sold books directly to people, like if I'm at an event or something, that's not Amazon, but it's complicated. That's why I'm ambivalent it's hard to be like in the world but not of the world. There's only so many things you can boycott before I guess you live under a bridge. But there are some nice bridges here. I like it. I might get away with it. Plunder the Egyptians. That's right, Scott. When the Israelites left Egypt and they just asked for whatever was there, and everybody's like, just get out, here's some money. It's funny. Oh, most big corps absolutely hate America. They're mostly globalists. So, anyhow, you have a, yeah, I could sell on my own website, but my own website, I will sell occasional books. I know because I've seen how things download, right? I have a Gumroad account, and so I'll link to things on there, and it's like, I will sell $10 or $20 a month of something that on Amazon I should be getting royalties. I'll get royalties of like $200 or $300. And I might only sell $2 on Gumroad, which is like direct ebooks, compared to, you know, $150 in Kindle royalties. It is really hard to play outside of that game. It's like saying I'm going to go visit family in Washington, but I'm not going to use the interstate or any highways. You can do it, but wow. Anyhow, God bless you all. Have a good night, and push the zone. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy my experiments, and for those of you who have read the book and have left me nice reviews, I appreciate it. The new version of the book, I think, only has like 2 reviews on it because it just got republished by Good Books. So it could use reviews. If you've read the book and you can go review it, that would be great, because it's like in the gutter now. So anyhow, have a great night. I may or may not post a video tomorrow. I'm not sure. I'm going to be really busy. We've got some friends coming into town. It's going to be great. And I may be able to get some banjo playing recorded with a friend that's a banjo player, which would be kind of cool. But no promises. Catch y'all next time. Thanks for watching. Until then, may your thumbs